Hey, James.
Hey Damian, how are you?
I'm great, man.
I'm even better, man. I watched this first episode. I'm with Damian Marcano, Paramount Plus's Lawman, Bass Reeves, and I watched the first episode, and man, I fell in love with it.
Yeah, that's how I felt when I first read it. I knew I wanted to do this.
You know, it's interesting. That first episode, I'm so glad you told a story of how he got started, which was very interesting. I didn't know that. Explain that.
Well, I don't want to give too much away as far as plot lines, all right? What I can say for me, man, it just was, as a Rasta man, if you will, I always try to find purpose in my work. It's few opportunities you get to do that in this career. But this was one of those things because I just thought, even as another Black man, it was just great to see a character like this, somebody that, was not the typical what he was at the time by any means necessary. And then having to keep up some kind of moral and ethical code and caring about what it did to your family or your community. Well, we have a song that says you don't have to be dread to be Rasta. So I figured this was the most Rasta-like project I could probably direct in Hollywood at the time, right?
Right. And speaking of spiritual, I had a feel of 10 Commandments and Moses being thrown in the desert the
Mm-hmm.
whole time that he was walking out in the country barefoot and everything.
And that's what David Oyelowo brings for you, man. It's like, as a director, you're going to work with somebody of his talent. So he has this large bag of things he could try, but he doesn't reuse. He's like, I am here as an artist to lose myself into this, to put myself into this. And it comes out in a way that is even greater than on the page. And after you see him depict the scene, you're like, yeah, I mean, I knew what we came to work today to film, but yeah, this is what we got. And what we got is even better.
It was. It was. That's
Yeah.
why I say it really drew me in. I felt like I was there with him the whole time,
Yeah.
especially that opening battle scene.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's amazing. And I think one of the tricks that we have on this show is to not shoot history as it was in our books, which is sort of from that faraway lens. It was getting in there, making sure that guys like you and myself could feel a personal interest in this story. Like we're just not watching this like tale about this guy. No, we're learning all of this man's imperfections while having to hold up the weight of that badge.
Absolutely. It was really interesting. You almost had me in tears at 2 points. We don't want to give too much away, but
Yeah.
at 2 points, one was at the trading post when the guys came, and the
Mm.
second one was the reuniting with his. That was you really had
Yeah.
me going there. I was
No,
going.
I think it's a very human story, man. When I see, I migrated to this country at a certain time in my life, and where I'm from, you know, the racial divide is not what it is here, right? But most of the media that we import, because we don't make a lot of stuff there, is from here. So I think it makes guys like me think, which is like, if we were like Bass at one point, how did we end up being where we are now? So I think for those who want to get that deep into the show, I think that's there for you too. I mean, might be some good fireside chats.
A lot of fireside chats. You're
Yeah.
speaking with Damian Marcona, talking about Paramount Plus's Lawman, Bass Reeves. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, brother.